The Seismic 7, Chapter 3, Part 1. What? I gape at the lady in front of us. No way. I could not have just heard that right. She can't possibly mean that. I glance around, looking for the hidden cameras. We're on a prank show, aren't we? I ask. You can't be serious. You want us to stop the Yellowstone supervolcano? Kinsey asks. No, you're not on a prank show. And yes, Dr. Greer confirms, nodding at Kinsey. That's exactly what I want you to do. But it can't erupt, Kinsey exclaims. Wind blows her blonde hair in front of her face, and she rapidly smacks it out of the way. It's dormant. There are no signs. There's been loads of research done. I mean, the magma is down there, sure, but there's no reason for it to come up right now. We are past our due date for an eruption, Dr. Greer begins. That's ridiculous. That has no real meaning, Kinsey interrupts. If it was really about to blow, there would be signals of increased geological activity, Dr. Greer interrupts her in return. There have been, worldwide. I run a hand over my face. My cheeks feel numb. Holy mackerel. A Yellowstone eruption would be catastrophic. Dr. Greer has to be wrong. She has to be. Bolivia, New Zealand, LA. Miss McNamara begins to list the biggest quakes of the past few years. These aren't coincidental. I know this sounds improbable. In fact, that's why so many people aren't doing anything about it. But Yellowstone is on the verge of erupting, and Dr. Greer is the only one who has taken it seriously and found a way to stop it. You knew this was what she wanted for us? Kinsey spins toward Miss McNamara. Her question reminds me of the other ridiculous part of all of this. They want us to help them stop this disaster. I almost laugh. Miss McNamara meets her accusing glare with a soft sigh. Yes, please hear her out before you jump to conclusions. Excuse me, Todd cuts in. Not to undermine Dr. Greer, but how can humans possibly stop a volcano, much less a supervolcano? If a supervolcano the size of Yellowstone erupts, it would be like 1,000 nukes going off, Wyatt says. I shake my head at all of them, since they're clearly missing the biggest point of all. Why do you think we, of all people, can help? Kinsey nods at me. Exactly. Even if what you're saying is true, which would be ludicrous, how are we supposed to stop it? Maybe if you all would just listen to Dr. Greer for a minute before arguing, you might understand, a new voice says. I turn to see several large men behind us and a parked blue truck. I recognize them as the men we saw at the overlook. Do they follow us here? I work for Dr. Greer, one of them says. So do my men. We're not interested in the world being destroyed. I notice all three of them have some serious muscles, and I'm not sure any of them are people I'd want to debate with. Kinsey, however, has no qualms. She makes a frustrated "guh" noise and rolls her eyes dramatically. Well, I'm not interested in that either, obviously, she says, but I'm not hearing anyone offer up any proof of what you guys are claiming is true. I am happy to provide you with my research once we get to the camp, Dr. Greer says. Think of it as a thought experiment until then. Regardless, Yellowstone isn't going to wait until everyone on the planet believes it's happening. We all fall silent. I picture my Earth Builder simulation and imagine the explosion in real life. Half of the park blown away at once. Lava spewing everywhere. Clouds of pyroclastic dust filling the sky, blotting out the sun. Ash and rock raining down from the Pacific to the Atlantic. North America essentially wiped off the map as the shockwave and the poisonous gases spread. An endless winter descending on the entire planet. This is a lot to take in, Miss McNamara says next, but it's all true, and our work must be kept secret. Even my park rangers have no idea what's going on here. We don't have a perfect solution to stop the volcano, but we can settle it down. To do that, though, we need you. You've all proven how smart and capable you are. And importantly, you're the only ones who will fit, Dr. Greer adds. Fit? Wyatt asks. Through the tunnels, Dr. Greer goes on. We're drilling down to the magma chamber to release the built-up pressure in timed, controlled intervals. Release the pressure? I stare, thinking back to Earth Builder again. But that's what I did to cause the eruption in my simulation. If we control the release, we can let out a small amount of gas and magma from the chamber, Dr. Greer explains. This would reduce the risk of a major pressure release later on that would evacuate the upper rheolitic magma and reach the basaltic partial melt below, creating a sustained explosion and ejection. I guess we don't immediately respond the way she thinks we should, so in a much slower tone she adds, that would be bad. That would be the supervolcanic part. Allow me, Samantha, Miss McNamara says, gently cutting in. She pulls out a bottle of soda from her bag. This is what helped me first understand. She shakes up the bottle, making sure we're all watching. If I open this, what happens? It explodes, Kinsey says. Yes, but if I only open it a little bit, and then shut it, and then open it, and then shut it, Miss McNamara demonstrates, opening the bottle quickly, and then twisting the cap shut. A hiss escapes, but it doesn't explode. She repeats the movement. I can lower the pressure inside safely and with control. The wheels turn in my head. In Earth Builder, when I built up the pressure but didn't release enough of it, it totally ruined my experiment because then the volcano would settle and I'd have to set it up all over again. This actually makes sense. We're at the point where the top of Yellowstone's soda bottle is ready to blow, Miss McNamara says. We either do something to calm it down or wait for catastrophe. Unfortunately, Dr. Greer continues, we can't do this alone. The pods we built to drill underground ended up far more tightly packed than we had anticipated. She shoots a glare at the men behind us as if it is all their fault somehow. We can't widen them if we want the correct rate of pressure release. Therefore, we must rely on kids such as yourselves to squeeze into the drilling pods, tunnel down to the magma chamber, and set some carefully controlled charges. I look to the others to gauge their reactions. If all of this is really true, and you found a way to control an upcoming eruption of nightmarish proportions, why keep it secret? Why not get the world involved? Wyatt asks. The world doesn't care, Dr. Greer snaps. Maybe not if you talk to them like that, Kinsey snorts. We've tried to ask for help many, many times, Miss McNamara says. Her eyes land on Kinsey, and the ghost of a smile plays on her lips. Nicely even, but no one listens. We've only found a few people who are willing to put in the time and money, and most of them are here on site with us. Others would rather take their chances that this won't impact them during their lifetimes, even though it's already starting. Denial is a powerful thing. Already starting? I suck in a breath. That doesn't sound good. What? Todd asked. That's ridiculous. They have to care. And the government could help if... You obviously aren't old enough yet to know how the government works, Miss McNamara replies with an unamused laugh. And you obviously have no idea how to ask people for help, Kinsey responds. You just met us. How can you possibly trust us with this? We don't have a choice, Dr. Greer says. What we're doing sounds unbelievable to people who can't be bothered to understand the science. And if we go public with our plans, the government will stop us. Think, if we had been honest and told your families that we needed your help to drill down to one of the biggest magma chambers Earth has to offer, would your parents have allowed you to join us? My eyes widen even more. Absolutely not. This is our only chance, Miss McNamara says, apology written all over her face. I'm so sorry I couldn't tell you sooner. You have no idea how hard Samantha and I have tried to protect our planet from disaster, just to have officials slam the door in the face of our efforts. If we don't operate independently and in secret, this is never going to happen, she sighs. Listen, I'm almost 50 years old. I can tell you right now there will never be another time in your life where you will literally be asked to save our planet. Yes, it will be dangerous. This is asking everything of you. But if you do this, you will be heroes. I straighten a little where I sit and see Todd do the same. However, none of us speak up just yet. I think we're all still trying to process everything. Dr. Greer scoffs at our lack of answers. I told you they wouldn't agree, she says to Miss McNamara. I told you they wouldn't. How about we walk to our camp while you think about it? Miss McNamara proposes, interrupting Dr. Greer. You can read the research once we're there. A wave of gratefulness washes over me at her suggestion, on the heels of the wave of guilt from Dr. Greer's accusation that we don't want to help. Yeah, sure, Kinsey throws her hands up. Not like we have anything better to do, right? I wince at her attitude, even if I do understand it. This is so much. I wonder what Aunt Pauline would do. Actually, no, I don't. I know what she would do. Which way? Todd asks. The men from the car gesture up the mountainside. Tucked away in a dark shadow amid slabs of dirty rock is a path. And in front of that path there's a person watching us. A person with 3 heads. I can't be seeing that correctly. Come on, everyone grab your things, Miss McNamara says. She's back by the van, popping open the hatch. I glance up the cliff again, but the person is gone. Miss McNamara hoists our bags out, and we each retrieve them. Meanwhile, the men begin unpacking loads of supplies out of their car. I don't even consider asking for my camera when the bag of tech is dug out of the back of the minivan. My mind is elsewhere as I swing my duffel over my shoulder, stumbling as it lands with a thwomp on my back. The straps press against my skin and pinch it painfully. Saving the world. Someone is actually asking me to save the world. I start walking, trying to catch up to everyone who has already gotten ahead of me. Only Miss McNamara is left behind, closing up the van. I put one foot in front of the other as we ascend higher and higher. Getting up the mountain is tougher than I'd first thought it would be. Todd and Kinsey started with an unspoken foot race, but they're both huffing and puffing with the rest of us by now. Wyatt has a slight limp going on. Dr. Greer is the only one of us who seems to handle the climb without issue, and she's carrying most of our excess supplies. It's a little embarrassing. When we finally reached the ledge where I saw the mysterious 3-headed person, I realized we weren't climbing to meet somebody. We were climbing to reach the entrance to a cave. It's not a large opening, just big enough for a small car to drive into if it somehow could get up here. The 4 of us drop our luggage in the dirt, groaning, gasping for breath, and definitely not ready to continue the trek just yet. Wait here while we load in supplies, Dr. Greer tells us. We'll be back in just a few minutes, Miss McNamara adds, smiling. Good job getting up the path.